Well, hey, howdy, hey, y'all. How we doing tonight? Woo. Oh, come on, I know y'all can do better than that. How are we doing tonight? Woo. Fabulous, fabulous. Well, welcome to this year's Speakers Forum, sponsored by the School of Communication Studies, and also the Society for Civil Discourse. Here, we have a fabulous lineup of extremely talented speakers who will be delighting your ears tonight. But before we get started with tonight's festivities, let's take a minute to fill you in on why you're actually here. Well, the Speakers Forum began in the spring of 2002. The Society for Civil Discourse was founded in 1999 when SIU Carbondale alumna Barbara Jane Schwartz established an endowment to provide a space for students to be able to freely engage in civil discourse and supporting opportunities for students to exchange opinions and beliefs in topics of interest about Carbondale and in society as a whole. As this year's topic surrounds the rise of short form content or condensed about 60-second-ish videos that are meant to absorb the viewer, we think tonight's topic is incredibly timely, as the speakers will be explaining in their speeches a little bit later tonight. Well, shall we get started? Shall we get started? Woo, thank you. All right. So first up on our fun festivities is Megan Clarda. Coming all the way from Loves Park, Illinois, Megan is a freshman studying mortuary science and funeral services. Megan's topic is on the 3 key factors of why short-form content is extremely effective in raising awareness on various issues. But before we get into her speech, I would like to provide a trigger warning for y'all, as the speech does mention parental suicide. Other than that, come on up, Megan.
I was like, where's the clicker? Found it. Okay. How many times have you found yourself searching your socials for something to do? How often do you consume social media, whether it be a reel, a post, or an event page, and think, I had no idea, or that is so fascinating? The reason you're drawn in is likely because what you just witnessed or read uses some kind of short form content. When you ask people what comes to mind when you hear the words short form content, most people almost instantly think of examples such as Reels, Facebook videos, or YouTube Shorts. However, Search Engine Land in 2023 explains that the true definition of short form content is any type of content your audience can easily and quickly consume, whether they're reading, watching, or listening. And when it is written, it is typically under 1,000 words in length. Short form content on social media can be an extremely effective way to raise and spread awareness on certain issues because of 3 key qualities. It's appealing, it's snackable, and it's easily shareable. In the next 7 minutes, I'm going to break down each of these qualities by explaining what they are and giving examples of each. And hopefully by the end of these 7 minutes, you'll realize a bigger purpose of short form content. Take a look at the image on the screen. It's likely that your eyes are drawn in to see this in a specific way and that you like it, even if you can't quite say why. This specific example shows a very appealing slogan along with their logo, which you can read and understand the message being portrayed very quickly and effectively. The professionals at Adobe Express, last updated in 2022, outlined 8 basic principles of design. For the sake of time, I'll only point out principle number 1, alignment, and principle number 2, use of hierarchy to help focus your design. Principle number 1, alignment, really shows in this logo with the slogan that lines up perfectly. And principle number 2, hierarchy, shows that even though everything in this image is important, the words, "it's okay to not be okay," are larger than anything else, making it stand out first, but not taking up the entire image. So, even though this image only consists of 6 words, the way the words line up directly on top of each other and stand out by only using 2 colors goes to show that a big message can be perceived in just a few short, appealing words. This specific organization, known as Tommy Carell Memorial Foundation, has raised thousands of dollars in their local community by raising awareness and advocating the prevention of suicide. The founder, Xavier Whitford, has created this nonprofit organization in memory of her son, who she lost to suicide at a very young age, leaving his daughter and loved ones behind. Out of this tragedy, Xavier has taken advantage of short-form content by using simple slogans and logos to portray what her organization stands for, and she has proven over and over that this, in fact, works. She shared with me that having this appealing logo has increased their fundraising by 25%. In addition to being appealing, short-form content should also be snackable. Now, the word snackable might not be the top 5 list of words that you would use to describe something that you read or see online. But Rock Content, a blog that teaches people how to use short-form content, states that snackable content is defined as short-form, straightforward, and easy-to-digest content that can be consumed quickly on platforms like social media. Think about what a snack is, like how we would usually think of snacks. Like, what makes a good snack? Like those Takis you crave, not only impact your taste buds, but you can eat them on the go. They're easy to pronounce, and you don't even need to think about eating them. And how about those brownie bites? Who's a fan of those? Yeah. You're getting a straightforward brownie in a form that you can just pop right in your mouth without even thinking about it. No mess, no crumbs, just straight deliciousness. It's the same with snackable short-form content. This snackable logo right here is short and sweet, which also is something you might think about when wanting a snack, just like those brownie bites. 2 simple words bound together by image that says 1,000 words. You matter. Connected by a ribbon with birds and a semicolon. At first glance, you only see the broad picture of the obvious words, you matter. But perhaps when you are scrolling on social media and come across this, many of you might pause and take a closer look. That's where the term snackable comes into play. Something small and sweet, but really fills you up on the inside when you take a look into the meaning behind those 2 small words. And in just a moment, I'll tell you the meaning behind this one. Not only is effective short-form content appealing and snackable, it should also be easily shareable. Neil Patel, co-founder of NP Digital, says that shareable content increases audience engagement and that there are 2 things that make content shareable: relevancy and relatability. It is relevant if it is timely and relates to a target audience, and it is relatable if your audience can easily see themselves in it. With this particular short-form content image, it directly addresses those impacted by suicide with the use of the ribbon, and it is targeting an audience who would be interested in attending horse shows. But the key is making the content relevant and relatable enough that your audience wants to click this little button right here, the share button. So now you know what makes effective short-form content. It's appealing, it's snackable, and it's easily shareable because it is relevant and relatable. But what you might not know is that I personally have used short-form content to my advantage. In memory of losing my father to suicide, I have founded the Craig Clarida Suicide Awareness Speed Show, which, as you can see in the image above, short-form content on social media has spread the word of my horse show and the mission behind it. Because of how quickly content spreads, my show to date has raised over $5,000 for suicide prevention and awareness facilities to help in my local community back home. Without the use of appealing, snackable, and easily shareable short-form content, I would have never accomplished such numbers in only 3 short years of starting this organization. With having over 500 attendees in the last 3 years spreading the word, this wouldn't have been possible without the rise of short-form content. Next time you scroll through your socials, don't forget to pause and take a closer look at the smaller images as big things tend to come in small packages. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing job. All righty, let's get this show on the road. So, thank you so much. All right, next up is Al Pierman. Hailing from St. Joseph, Illinois, Al is a freshman double majoring in geology and liberal arts music. His speech titled TikTok's Chokehold on Our Personal Autonomy and Its Effectiveness on Our Opinions and Behaviors will take us on a deep dive into TikTok's addictive algorithm and the platform's design and how this heavily contributes to the loss of users' autonomy. You ready to go, Al? Come on up. Al Pierman.
Y'all hear me all right? Yep. Is that an escape button? Oh, it's hidden away. You're hiding the keyboard from me. 3 hours. According to data gathered by the Statista database in 2022, that's how much time, on average, Gen Z spends on social media every day. And bear in mind, that's social media time, not screen time, and that it's an average. So there's a bunch of people that spend way more time than that on social media. And of course, one of the fastest growing and most popular social media platforms as of late. As popular as TikTok is, there are many aspects of it that I believe contribute more so than other social media platforms to this crazy screen time number, amongst other issues. Today, I'd like to talk to you about TikTok and how its algorithm and platform design contribute to the loss of one's personal autonomy and how that affects social media addiction and the online misinformation epidemic. Before I really dive in, I'd like to mention that I personally don't use TikTok. I never have, precisely because I know I would become super addicted to it. As such, I understand that I have a bit of a strange perspective on not only my topic, but all of the other topics that are going to be presented here in this forum today. But rest assured, I've done my due diligence with research. All right, let's get started with autonomy, shall we? Autonomy, as defined by the Cambridge Dictionary, is a person's freedom to make their own decisions without being controlled by anyone else. Something I think we can all agree is pretty important. Unfortunately, TikTok is very, very good at stifling that decision-making and information-gathering process. And I believe it comes from a rather subtle but important feature that was once unique to TikTok: the lack of thumbnails and the scrolling mechanic of the For You page. These two pictures are both screenshots that I've taken from my personal YouTube and TikTok feeds. That's why the TikTok video is very random and still has the interested, not interested on it. When you first open TikTok, whether you're a new user or old, you're met with the For You page, a scrolling feed of video after video specifically tailored for you based on data picked up by TikTok's algorithm. All of these videos were picked based on a bunch of factors, like your watch time, likes and comments on videos, and any other data you might have given to TikTok. When you swipe through TikTok's homepage, When you swipe through TikTok's homepage, you have no say on what comes onto your feed next, nor whether or not you actually want to play that video. You are instead force-fed whatever the algorithm decides you might like, instead of choosing what to watch yourself. Compare that to YouTube, where, yeah, sure, you do get a scrolling feed of video after video, but you make the ultimate choice in whether or not to actually watch it, because there's a thumbnail that serves as a barrier to you and the content being streamed right into your face. Now, all right, I hear you asking, so what? I'm fed content I like, and I get to skip the step of actually having to pick anything. Sounds good to me, right? Well, there's a reason why TikTok and other platforms like YouTube Shorts and Instagram's Reels are using this form of automatic content distribution, because it works so well at holding your attention and keeping you on the app that it's very easy to become literally addicted to it. Here we go. The concept of social media addiction is not a new one, and not one that started with TikTok either. But the TikTok algorithm in particular has absolutely perfected the art of dosing our brains with dopamine to keep us on the app for hours. According to a study done by Dr. David and Dr. Roberts at Baylor University in 2023, TikTok, compared to social media apps like Instagram, was much more prone to causing something called time distortion in its users, which is basically when you sit down to scroll TikTok for like 5 minutes or so and you look up and it's been half an hour. And wouldn't you guess it, this time distortion phenomenon has a lot to do with the low effort, high reward format of TikTok that will forever encourage you to watch just one more video. Who knows what could pop up? And after all, what's the harm? Well, aside from social media addiction in of itself being plenty harmful, it often comes in conjunction with a much more dangerous phenomenon, echo chambers, which are environments where people never see contradicting opinions or beliefs, reaffirming their current ideas without ever presenting the other side in anything but a negative light. These echo chambers are almost always associated with politics, and due to social media, they've become more rampant and dangerous than ever. Now, slow down. I'm not saying that anybody that uses TikTok is going to be some sort of ranting, raving extremist the second they get on the app. But I don't think anybody can deny the state of our political climate these days, and social media like TikTok is definitely to blame to some extent. Remember all the hubbub last election about voter fraud here in the US? Basically entirely unfounded, as confirmed by pretty much every major news outlet, including Republican-leaning Fox News, who eventually published some belated articles agreeing that it didn't really happen. Despite all of that, that rumor did a ton of damage, almost entirely because it was a huge deal all over social media for months, circulating over and over again in Republican circles. A big reason why it's so easy for people to fall into these political echo chambers is because TikTok eats up political content. In fact, research done by Merlina Lim in 2020 found that due to a combination of sorting algorithm principles and the ascendancy of affirmative affirmations, users are far more likely to see superlative content on polarized extremes, which is fancy science person talk for rage bait works really, really well. The same is true for the rampant disinformation epidemic that the internet is facing now more than ever. Another study done by Justin Grandinetti and Jeffrey Brunisma at the University of North Carolina in 2022 found that there is little incentive for TikTok to shut down circulating misinformation precisely because this content elicits a strong response and, in turn, captures user attention, which ultimately leads to more engagement, data, and opportunities for monetization. Always seems to come back to money, right? And of course, as I'm sure you've gotten used to hearing by now, the format of TikTok does this phenomenon no favors, stuffing more rage bait content right into your face. And our modest little brains can seldom help but to entertain it, further perpetuating that cycle. All right, I'll admit that was a lot, but I want to end this speech on a much lighter note. I know full well that TikTok does not exclusively breed hateful, brain-dead young adults. Far from it, really. For most people, your feed probably consists largely of memes or fashion content, sports, funny cat videos. And none of that stuff is really a problem, as long as you can manage your screen time well. It's people with For You pages that have even moderate amounts of heavily opinionated or political content that really need to watch out for that slippery slope. And I think the best solution is something I've sort of been talking about this whole time. Decide yourself what you're going to watch. That search bar is there for a reason. Before you even open TikTok, decide that you're going to use it for a specific purpose. I'm going to go watch funny cat videos because I need a nap and I miss my cat. And then go do that specifically. Not only does it put the choice of what you watch back into your hands, but it'll probably also help with the whole binge scrolling issue. Because if you get bored with the cat videos, it probably means it's time to put TikTok away for a little bit. TikTok is absolutely a scary beast that can leave you pretty defenseless to its whims, stripping you of your autonomy and making you much more susceptible to addiction and echo chambers. But as long as you use it responsibly and remember to make your own choices sometimes, I really don't think it's that bad. I appreciate you giving me your time, and if you take anything from this, maybe try that whole searching thing out later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. All right. Excuse me 1 second. Cool. Okay. Next up on our fun speaker, I am so sorry. Next up on our speakers list is Amira Al-Khatim. Born and raised right here in Carbondale, Illinois, she is a freshman studying biomedical engineering. Her discussion, Learning in Short, notes the utilization of transformative short-form content to enhance the education experience for all ages. Let's give it up for Amira.
I will say the cord on this mic is huge. Okay. Alrighty. Hello, hello. How are we today? We good? We good? We great. All right. How has your own attention span affected your learning experience? According to Dr. Gloria Mark, professor of informatics at University of California, Irvine, in the last 20 years, the average attention span on a screen diminished from a whole 2.5 minutes to a mere 47 seconds. While there are various reasons as to why this deficit occurred, one of the biggest reasons accredited to it is the rise of short-form content. Through platforms such as TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, learning has become more accessible, engaging, and flexible for all. By utilizing these platforms, we can learn to harness the power of bite-sized learning to enhance education for students of all ages. Let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we? I encourage you to think about a time where you were simply sitting in a classroom, whether that be in the front, the back, right in the middle, off in the corner so the professor can't tell you're on your phone the whole time. For me, I would like to think about a time where you didn't fully understand the content being taught. For me, that was a time I felt helpless, and it was a time where I felt lost and almost gave up. However, I want you to think about how you pursued that knowledge and understanding. For me, I spent countless hours in a library just like this, flipping through textbook pages, doing practice problems, going on my phone at midnight, texting my friends, hey, did you do the practice problems? I don't know how to do it. Me either. Yay, we're both going to fail tomorrow. But we're not, because we're going to use short form content. Because no matter what I did, I still felt the sense of misunderstanding. What if I told you that this problem could simply be solved in a fraction of the time? Instead of spending, say, an hour on learning this content, you could solve it in a mere matter of minutes. Through short-form content, learning is more engaging, gives you access to an increased amount of resources, as well as give you access to features that are not available in the classroom. So let's first talk about how learning can become more engaging. Through short-form content, learning can be made fun. Effects and graphics are a key part of videos used to keep viewers hooked. According to research conducted by Darren Turnbull in 2022 at Central Queensland University, lessons taught through social media were found to be more engaging to learners. Higher engagement can lead to a new understanding of the concept. As shown in the crash course clip on the left, effects are used to keep your eyes moving and focused on the content being taught. And in the clip from Harvard Extension School here on the left, or on your right, effective graphics are used to convey the biological process being shown in a way that cannot quite be shown in a textbook. It can be hard to sit down and force yourself to learn something that you are uninterested. However, through short form media, you can not only further your understanding, but do it in a way that keeps you engaged as well. Another advantage of short form content that is often overlooked is the implementation of resources that may not be available otherwise. According to research conducted by Uni in 2023, one of the key advantages of using social media in education is increased accessibility to information and resources. As shown in this clip from Texas A&M University's Astronomy and Physics Department's TikTok account, one of the professors is demonstrating the concept of inertia and Newton's first law of motion. Unless you go to Texas A&M University, you wouldn't have access to her entertaining teaching style. However, through short-form content, you can learn a concept like inertia in a way that could allow you to understand it. Through platforms such as YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, users can gain knowledge that may not be covered in class. This knowledge can therefore provide another way to understand the same concept. Through short-form content, you can also make learning more accessible for everyone. With features such as captions, learners that struggle understanding content in the classroom can learn through a way that caters to them. As shown here, captions are used to show what is happening in the visual piece, like this video. In this video here from Vox, describing a total solar eclipse, for those with hearing disabilities, Captions are used to show what is being said in the video. And for those with hearing disabilities, this can allow students to fully understand the concept being taught, compared to a traditional classroom where they may not be able to hear the teacher and clearly struggle in processing the information. This can also, therefore, provide a sense of inclusivity and community amongst learners, as these students are able to learn the same content as their peers, even though they may not have the same learning disabilities as they do and face the same challenges that they do. While some may argue that short-form content is a source of mindless scrolling and addiction, through short-form content, learning becomes more engaging, providing them with various resources and gives them a sense of community. Now, I want you to think back to that time where you didn't fully understand the content being taught. However, I want you to imagine how short-form media could enhance your learning experience. What if you had a search bar where you could type in the subject and find someone who is an expert in that field to explain the concept to you in a way that could appeal to you? Whether it be through fancy animations, effective graphics, an entertaining teaching style, or features as simple as captions, short-form content can change the scenario completely. Now, the next time you pursue knowledge, whether it be for a calculus course, learning how to juggle, or if you just want to learn more about the American Civil War, through short-form content, you can achieve this goal in a matter of minutes rather than countless hours. I encourage you, the next time you pursue knowledge, instead of flipping through textbooks and doing practice problems, find your way to a YouTube search bar. This is learning in short. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome job. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much, Amira. Okay, next up is Mackenzie Stanton. By the way, can y'all hear me from here? Can y'all hear me in the back? All right, fabulous. Just wanted to make sure. Cool. Next up is Mackenzie Stanton. Born in literally a hop, skip, and a jump away in Murfreesboro, Illinois, Mackenzie is a freshman majoring in English education. During this evening, Mackenzie will delight us on short-form content's effects on child learning and the various negative aspects that this style of learning can happen. You ready to go, Mackenzie? Come on up.
According to research done at Penn State University in 2018, Americans spend more than 10 hours a day looking at screens. Adults are not the only ones partaking in this behavior, as children have been spending an increasing amount of time on technology as well. In fact, a 2022 research report from the National Literacy Trust found that 8 in 10 young people use digital devices daily. One type of media that seems to infatuate kids particularly is short-form content. Short-form content affects many aspects of children's lives, all of which can have a negative impact on their learning. Sleep, creativity, and attention span, all of which are integral parts of learning, can all be negatively. Future educator, it's important now more than ever to understand the implications of short-form content and take proactive steps to combat the harmful effects before it is too late. We've all been told how important it is to get a good night's sleep before a big test, and now overuse of short-form content can cause children to miss out on the rest they need to thrive in school. In an article titled Short-Form Content, a Modern Media Pandemic, written in November 2022 for Leiden's Psychology blog, Yigit Bazak explains that short-form content is designed to encourage viewers to consume as large quantities of media as possible. A clinical review published by Elsevier in 2010, observing the influence of children's sleep on their academic performance, shows that poor sleep quality and late bedtimes can seriously harm learning capacity and school performance. The addictive nature of short-form content, coupled with the effects of blue light, can have devastating impacts on children's sleep, which can in turn negatively affect their performance in school. Sleep is not the only area which parents should be concerned about, as creativity can suffer as well. The constant access to large quantities of short-form content can hinder creativity in children. Cameron Ahmed explains that short-form content can be creative, but oftentimes it utilizes quick gimmicks to grab hold of children's attention and reel them in. When kids are exposed to this over and over, it can cause them to rely on superficial forms of creativity, hindering their ability to think deeply and express themselves more profoundly. An article posted by Maryville University in 2014 titled Creativity for Kids, Benefits and Tips for Nurturing an Innovative Mind reveals the impact creativity has on children's learning, stating that partaking in creative acts develops problem solving and fine motor skills as well as supports deep thinking. Not only does creativity allow kids to develop important skills for learning, it also boosts their self-confidence. Children can flourish with the full benefits of creativity when they are not being diminished by short-form content consumption, allowing them to develop the skills and confidence that are needed for their academic success throughout their lives. The most apparent and impactful consequence of short-form media is the shortening of children's attention span. An online article titled The Unseen Dangers of Short-Form Content, a wake-up call for parents, posted to LinkedIn in October of 2023, reveals the dangers of allowing access to short-form content for children's attention spans. Author Sai Tasia explains that constant consumption of short videos affects our focus by encouraging rapid switches from one video to the next. This stops our ability to focus on longer and more complex tasks. Children already have naturally short attention spans due to their still developing brains, and the combination with the effects of short-form content can be devastating in the classroom. Without the ability to focus on and complete one task at a time, children lack the skills they need to excel in academics. I myself experienced this a couple of years back. I was a freshman in high school when COVID-19 sent children home for the remainder of the school year, and from that point on, my homework was considered pretty much optional. Like many of my peers, I didn't do the optional work, and instead I decided to spend many hours on my phone. TikTok was really starting to gain major popularity at this point, and I was hooked. When I returned to school in the fall, I found that I could no longer sit and focus on one task without feeling the urge to take out my phone and start scrolling. I realized that I had to put an end to this addiction if I wanted to continue to thrive in school, and I cut back on the amount of time I spent on my phone, particularly on TikTok. Now I average about 3 to 4 hours a day, and I no longer experience this trouble focusing. I was not the only one this happened to, as many of my friends were experiencing the same thing. This goes to show just how easy it is to get addicted to short-form content and see the effects in your own life. Sleep, creativity, and attention span are just a few of the various areas of children's lives that can be harmed by exposure to short-form content. All of these factors are vital for the academic success of children, and harming any of them can be detrimental to learning. To avoid these devastating effects and ensure children are performing to the best of their ability, parents and caretakers should limit the amount of time that their children have access to short-form content and place an emphasis on educational content. Encouraging educational activities that require focus can help to counteract the effects of short-form content. These include reading, playing outside, and being creative. By actively implementing these two approaches, children will all have the chance to do their very best in school without being held back by the dangerous effects of short-form content. Thank you for listening.
Fabulous job, Mackenzie. Awesome, awesome. How are we doing so far? Y'all doing good? Y'all still feeling good? Thank you for rocking with us this evening. Y'all ready for the crostados outside? I know I definitely am. All righty. Well, sadly, our time is coming to a close. But we do have a really amazing speaker coming up. Our final speaker of the evening is Isabella Orozco. Born in Chicago, Illinois, Isabella is a freshman who, stay with me here, folks, who not only is working on her bachelor's in healthcare management and getting her associate's in physical therapy, but also minoring in infection prevention and control. Yes, I love that. So, her speech is on the appeal and benefits of TikTok's quick news content and how it helps us, especially the younger generation, helps their kind of understanding of the world around us. Let's give it up for Isabella.
All right, is this like a good volume or this is good? Okay. So there's obviously a stigma behind TikTok news. We've all heard it before. TikTok is seen as an app that just feeds us misinformation and rots our brains, a place where the young people are easily influenced by everything they see on there. and are brainwashed by its biased influencers. But the immense power of the information it holds for us, especially the newer generations, shouldn't be written off. To understand the significance of the news available in the app and its benefits in today's world, it's important to understand three main points. People these days have a decreased attention span, are reading and watching the news less, and are increasingly using TikTok as a platform and as a means for worldwide change. A study conducted by Microsoft found that the average human attention span has decreased from 12 seconds in 2000 to 8 seconds in 2021. These extra 4 seconds are significant. A person's attention span is a big factor in their learning journey and honestly drives it. The extent of information an individual can take in and the focus they can put towards it determines how much they'll be able to retain. And though you can blame the decreasing attention spans on social media and even TikTok specifically, doesn't change the fact that it's already happened. Furthermore, people these days are also, simultaneously, tuning into the news less. According to BBC News, as of 2023, the number of people taking a real interest in the news has dropped by about a quarter in the last 6 years. And when focusing specifically on younger adults, the Pew's Research Center concluded that 27% of young adults follow the news in 2016, but that fell to 19% by 2022. A lot of it due to the depressing nature of the information they frequently see when tuning in. So though the solution for increasing local and global news awareness amongst new generations being a mix of informative and entertaining videos on their TikTok For You page might seem a little overwhelming, it's actually incredibly helpful. I touched on the fact that the average human attention span has been decreasing and that it's becoming increasingly less common to tune into the news. But it's even more important to now understand the power of TikTok. TikTok has over 1 billion active users worldwide. It's a massively popular social media app, with the largest portion of users being between the ages of 10 to 19 years old. Of course, it's an entertainment platform and it's primarily used as such, but an increasing amount of users are now also getting videos regarding current political and social issues on their personalized For You page. After continued use, TikTok's algorithm shows its users videos they'll likely enjoy and interact with. So if a user likes to frequently get informative videos on their page, they'll keep getting more. And as a result, there are now thousands of different TikTok accounts related to all things politics, crime, health, fitness, and more. A lot of them are also run by very credible people. There are lawyers, doctors, teachers, politicians, and more who all regularly upload informative videos regarding current news and issues. Additionally, there are just a lot of people who care to inform the public. Serious global issues like the state of Palestine or the Ukraine are regularly talked about. Young people who otherwise would never turn on the news are now exposed to such critical and important topics. The news and its various segments aren't enough to target the interests of new and younger generations. So doing it on such a popular app where its contents are short and fast enough to not only inform them, but also keep their attention is so beneficial. It's been through TikToks that protests have been organized and where protests and marches have been implemented and where missing persons cases have been assisted on, many of which have been expedited thanks to the app. Numerous campaigns have been created by family members and friends of missing or deceased loved ones because the power of social media and TikTok is undeniable. For example, oh my gosh, did I repeat that? Imagine being in one of those family members' positions and knowing thousands upon thousands are actively helping you locate or get justice for your loved one, many of which you otherwise would have had no clue about the issue at hand had relevant news and issues not been broadcasted on the app. This was especially seen during the recent Riley Strain case, where 22-year-old college student Riley was missing for 2 weeks on his own after being kicked out of a bar in Nashville, Tennessee. Riley was unfortunately found deceased, but it was 10 days into the search that two citizens, both who regularly kept up with the news on the case via TikTok and went on to upload videos of their own, who discovered the missing student's credit card by the Cumberland River. And it'd be only days later that his body surfaced there. It was a truly unfortunate outcome, but for the full 2 weeks, countless TikTok accounts and videos were made in hopes to help locate Riley. The located credit card itself was an extremely helpful discovery and highlights just how large these communities and accounts on TikTok can grow and go on to make significant impacts in the lives of others. Evidently, the TikTok news community wouldn't exist without the thousands of people who care to help and inform others. A personal favorite of mine is Nick Jackson. Nick provides his 2.5 million followers with daily or monthly recaps of everything on the news in only 60 seconds. His videos often receive well over 1 million views, and I myself use them for a lot of my info, especially at college with no TV and no subscriptions to tune into anything through my phone. TikTok recaps are where I get majority of my news about any recent events. There, of course, will be some videos you come across that aren't 100% accurate or that might be a little biased and push a certain agenda. That's the case with a lot of different platforms, but that's why further research is needed sometimes. If a simple 60-second video is enough to catch their attention and interest, viewers will be compelled to educate themselves even more. Think about it. The young teen comes across to, let's say, 5 different videos on their For You page concerning a recent health issue, like, let's say, a new disease. Not only are they repeatedly informed, they'll be interested in even more information. They'll go on to search news articles, YouTube videos, or even go on to ask the people around them. This, in turn, sparks up countless necessary conversations that otherwise they wouldn't see any other reason to care about. They might not have even been aware of the issue in the first place. People often get angry that an entertainment platform is turning into a news hub for many. But that's honestly the reason of TikTok, to be adjusted to its viewers and their interests, even if that consists of just one video regarding what was in the news in the last month. And it's obviously information they want. According to the Pew Research Center, in 2020, 22% of TikTokers got their news from the app, but that jumped to 43% in 2023. It's nearly doubled in these 3 years, and it's likely to keep growing, especially because not only are they tuning into news less, the young people are also not reading the newspaper much. Most of it due to the easier access of online sources or disinterest in sad topics they know aren't typically in the papers. Therefore, this adds yet another news source that younger generations aren't interested in benefiting from, and only pushes the importance of TikTok even more. So I know it may seem a little biased. I'm advocating for TikTok as a member of the younger generation I've been talking about. But the world we now live in has spoken for itself. Online platforms, especially TikTok, already have the interest of our newer generations. And as we take into consideration the decreasing attention spans and stray from other news platforms, we understand the crucial role it takes in today's society. As our world becomes increasingly reliant on the internet for information, TikTok's unparalleled reach creates countless opportunities to educate its viewers. It can be done in hundreds of engaging and relatable ways, and its success is something we'll continue to see. TikTok and its news have gone on to do a lot of good for thousands of communities out there, and I'm confident you now all understand that a little bit more. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up for our speakers, Isabella, Mackenzie, Al, Amira, and Megan. All right, I see on my clock that we do have a little over 15 minutes-ish to do a Q&A, so if the speakers may come up to the front pretty please. All right. And Frankie over here is going to be passing around a microphone if any of y'all would like to ask our speakers some questions.
Thank you for such a wonderful evening of speeches. It was really interesting. I liked watching and hearing everything that all of you said. I just wondered if any of you changed your own social media or short form content usage after doing the research that you did for these speeches.
I've never had TikTok, so yeah. So, didn't fall victim to that, but
I'd say I personally did try using TikTok for a week or two, both for the purpose of research and to see if I was missing out or something. I do report I am not using it anymore because I will get very addicted to it if I do. But it was a cool experience to try it out, basically.
I'm a chronic TikTok user. I'll be the honest one up here. My late night TikTok, well, okay, I only use it during the late night, but seeing as mine is concerning learning, since like my freshman year of high school, I've been following like TikTok accounts related to physics. As an engineering major, I kind of need that support in my life. But I would say that I've kind of always implemented my presentation topic, but my TikTok screen time is kind of bad. I do need to bring it down.
So I do use TikTok also. I was severely addicted a couple years ago, so my change came a little bit in the past, but this definitely resurfaced some of the concern doing the research.
I'm always on TikTok, which sounds so bad, but like I have 2 different accounts. So I have one where I use like when I want memes and when I want funny videos, and I have one when I'm like, oh, I've looked at like dumb memes all day, I should like learn something. So then I have one where like I only follow like educational accounts and I want like a little like information for the day. So I don't know. So it stays the same, but just I change what account
I use during the day.
We have time for another question. Doesn't have to be good. Anything. Question.
There we go. So remember one of you brought up, it was, what's your name? The one in the green in the middle? You're the one who brought up the education by using short form content, right? So my question was that, so a lot of educational YouTube videos are usually not as short as short form content. It's not under 1,000 words or like 60 seconds or like shorts level. It's usually around 5 minutes to like 15 minutes. I've personally taught myself my entire skill set off of YouTube videos, so I can tell you that
So
like
have I.
it seems like a minute's not long enough to learn a lot of things. So I'm wondering, do you have anything to like say about that, or?
I would say that the 60-second short form content is more for specific concepts. So say you're struggling with a certain way to do a problem or something like a small concept. But if you want to learn something greater, like the timeline of the American Civil War, perhaps, then it's better to turn to those 5 to 15-minute YouTube videos where you put it on 2 times speed so you can learn for your test the next day. But I did find that my crash course and Harvard Extension School clips are both from larger content videos, but they're more for the shorter concepts that you need a quick like tidbit on how to learn something. So both works. We can have a truce here.
All right. And that is all the questions that we have for today. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Again, my name is Zoe Treatkin, your hostess with the mostest. If you are here for extra credit, please see Jesse. Jesse, wave your hands. There's Jesse. Make sure to go see him for your extra credit. And we will see you next semester. Goodbye.